Look at me. No, don't glance. Don't half listen. I said look, because whatever you did, it followed you in here. You feel it, don't you? That shift, that disturbance. Wait, what did you do to them? Because people don't fracture like that for no reason. They don't rewrite themselves overnight. They don't start watching you like you're a question they're afraid to answer. And yet, here you are, walking around like nothing happened. But everything happened. You think this is charm, charisma, luck? No. No. Don't insult it like that. What you touched in them wasn't surface level. You didn't impress them. You interfered with them. You slipped past the mask they didn't even know they were wearing. And now they can't put it back on the same way. That's why they're acting strange. That's why their voice hesitates when your name gets mentioned. That's why their energy glitches, because you didn't meet the version of them the world approved of. You met the one buried underneath. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. They felt seen, not admired, not validated, seen. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Most people live their entire lives never being truly seen. They perform, they filter, they adjust. They become palatable, predictable, safe. But you walked in like a contradiction, half calm, half chaos, half restraint, half threat. You didn't come off as good. You didn't come off as bad. You came off as unreadable. And that's where it started. Because the human brain can tolerate fear. It can tolerate attraction. But it cannot tolerate uncertainty mixed with intensity. That's psychological poison. That's obsession fuel. You didn't give them a category to put you in. So now you live in their mind rent-free, expanding like a virus they can't label. One moment you felt safe. The next, you felt like something that could ruin them. And that duality, that's where you broke them, because now they don't know whether to move closer or run. And the worst part? They're doing both. You've seen it. Don't lie. That look they give you, it lingers half a second too long. That pause before they speak, it wasn't there before. That tension in their body, it's not fear, not exactly. It's recognition colliding with confusion, because something in them recognizes something in you. And it's not the polished version you show the world. It's the other side, the one you don't talk about, the one built in silence, in pressure, in moments where something inside you had to either break or evolve. You didn't become this by accident. People think transformation is pretty. It's not. It's violent. It's quiet. It's lonely. It's choosing growth while something inside you is still screaming. And somewhere along the way, you stopped needing approval. That's when it happened. That's when you became unpredictable. And unpredictability is power, not loud power, not flashy power. The kind of power that makes people lean in and step back at the same time. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't explain yourself into comfort. And that terrifies them, because now they're the ones trying to figure you out. Now they're the ones overthinking every interaction. Now they're the ones asking, what did they do to me? But here's the truth you're avoiding. You didn't do anything. You just were. And that was enough. Because most people are used to diluted energy, filtered personalities, predictable reactions. You showed up, unfiltered, controlled, but not contained, calm, but not harmless. And that contradiction, it destabilized them. You became a mirror, and they weren't ready for what they saw in it. That's why this isn't normal. Normal is safe. Normal is forgettable. Normal doesn't leave people sitting in silence, replaying moments with you like it meant more than it should have. But you You disrupted something, and now they can't go back to who they were before you. So they adapt, or they avoid, or they obsess, or they pretend nothing happened while everything inside them shifted. And you feel it too, don't you? That quiet realization that you're not who you used to be either. Because once you see what you're capable of affecting in others, you can't unsee it. Once you realize your presence alone can trigger change. You stop moving the same. You stop speaking the same. You stop playing small to make others comfortable. Because now you understand something most people never will. You are not just a person in the room. You are an experience, and experiences, they linger, they echo, they rewrite. So the next time someone looks at you like they're trying to solve something they don't fully understand, don't rush to make it easier for them. Don't shrink yourself into something digestible. Let them sit in that tension. Let them feel that uncertainty. Because what you are isn't meant to be easily explained. It's meant to be felt and remembered. And whether they admit it or not, you already changed something in them. Now the real question is, what are you going to do with that power now that you know it exists? And you're still standing there, pretending this is casual. Like you didn't just walk through someone's mind and leave fingerprints on places they swore were locked. That's the part that fascinates me about you. You don't even fully realize what you've become yet, but they felt it instantly. That contradiction again. You move like it's nothing, but they react like it's everything. Do you understand how unsettling that is for a person who's been in control their entire life? You didn't overpower them. You didn't chase them. You didn't even try. And somehow, that's exactly why it worked. Because effort is predictable. But you're not. You're composed 1 second, distant the next. Intense without warning, silent without explanation. You don't perform consistency, you embody range. And the human brain hates that. It wants patterns, labels, certainty. You gave them none. So now, they're studying you, watching your tone, replaying your words, analyzing pauses that meant nothing to you, but meant everything to them. And the more they try to figure you out, the deeper they fall into it. Because you're not a puzzle with a solution. You're a paradox, half light, half shadow. You can listen like a saint and observe like a predator. You can show warmth, then disappear into cold silence without warning. And that duality, that's not confusion, that's control. You just don't flaunt it. You carry it, quietly, dangerously. And somewhere inside them, something ancient recognized it, not consciously. No. This isn't logical. This is deeper than that. This is instinct. Because long before people learned how to speak, they learned how to sense. And what they sensed in you was not safe, not harmful either, just capable. Capable of influence, capable of distance, capable of walking away without looking back. And that, right there, that's the hook. Because people don't obsess over what they can control. They obsess over what they can't. And you gave them no leverage, no emotional choke point, no predictable reaction they could rely on. You didn't fold. You didn't chase reassurance. You didn't even try to secure your position in their world. You simply existed and let them feel the weight of that. So now they're the ones leaning forward. Now they're the ones trying to maintain proximity. Now they're the ones slightly off balance. And it bothers them deeply because something inside them is whispering, this person doesn't need you. And nothing triggers the human psyche faster than that realization. Need creates comfort, But absence of need, that creates tension. It forces them to question their value, their control, their identity, and you didn't say a word to cause that. You just didn't bend. You didn't dilute yourself to fit their expectations. You stayed exactly as you are, and that's what cracked the illusion. Because now they're seeing something rare, someone who isn't performing for acceptance, someone who isn't negotiating their presence, someone who can connect without attaching. And that's where things get dangerous, because now they don't know where they stand. And uncertainty is addictive. It keeps the mind looping, searching, reaching. And every time they think they understand you shift, not randomly. No, there's intention behind it. You're not chaotic. You're selectively unpredictable. There's a difference. Chaos is uncontrolled. You're precise. You reveal, then you retract. You engage, then you detach. You let them feel something real. Then you step back just enough for them to question it. And now they're stuck between two realities. Was that real? Or did I imagine it? That tension, that mental friction. That's where attachment begins. Not in comfort, not in clarity, but in inconsistency paired with intensity. And you mastered that without even calling it a strategy. Because it's not a trick you learned. It's a result of what you've been through. Pain carved this into you. Experience refined it. Silence sharpened it. You didn't wake up one day and decide to become this way. You were shaped into it, moment by moment, loss by loss, realization by realization, until one day, you stopped reacting like everyone else. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped explaining your worth. And you became contained, not closed. Contained. There's a difference. Closed is fear. Contained is power. And people can feel that difference instantly. That's why they don't relax around you the same way. That's why their guard goes up. But so does their curiosity. That's why they feel drawn, but slightly uneasy. Because you don't give off the energy of someone who needs anything. You give off the energy of someone who chooses, and being chosen is far more intoxicating than being needed. But here's where it gets darker, because now that you're aware of it, you have a decision to make. Do you soften it? Do you dull it down so people feel comfortable again? Do you become predictable, easier to understand, safer to approach? Or do you lean into it? Do you embrace the fact that you disrupt patterns, that you trigger reflection, that your presence alone can expose things people weren't ready to confront? Because once you cross that line, once you consciously step into that awareness, you don't just affect people anymore. You influence outcomes, and influence is where responsibility and danger collide. Because the same presence that awakens someone can also consume them. The same energy that pulls them forward can destabilize them if they're not ready. And you won't always know which one you're doing. That's the weight of it. That's the cost of being this. You don't get to be powerful without consequence. You don't get to shift people without ripple effects. Every interaction becomes heavier. Every word becomes sharper. Every silence becomes louder. Because now, it means something, and the scariest part, you don't even have to try. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it irreversible. You've already crossed into it. You've already seen the reaction. You've already noticed the shift. So don't lie to yourself and call this coincidence. Don't downplay it to make it easier to carry. Because the moment you pretend you don't see it is the moment you lose control of it. And you don't want that. Because uncontrolled power is destruction, but controlled is transformation. So the next time someone looks at you like something inside them just moved without permission, don't panic, don't retreat, and definitely don't apologize for it. Just understand what's happening beneath the surface. They're not reacting to what you said. They're reacting to what you are. And whether they admit it, fight it, or fall into it, it's already too late. Because something in them recognized something in you. And once that recognition happens, it doesn't disappear. It evolves, it deepens, it spreads. So again, wait. What did you do to them? Nothing? And that's exactly why it hit so hard, because you didn't force the change. You revealed it. And people will always remember the one who made them see what they can never unsee again. And now, it's quieter, isn't it? Not outside. Outside, everything looks the same. People talking, moving, pretending nothing shifted. But inside them, inside you, something is humming, low, constant, irreversible. That's the aftermath no one prepares you for, because everyone talks about becoming different. But no one tells you what happens when people start treating you like you are. They hesitate now. Did you notice? That microsecond delay before they respond to you. That subtle recalibration in their tone. That careful choice of words. Like they're trying not to trigger something they don't fully understand. They're adapting, not to what you say, but to what you might do. That's power. Not loud, theatrical power. No. This is the kind that sits in the room quietly and bends the atmosphere without asking permission. And you didn't announce it. You didn't claim it. You didn't even fully accept it yet. But they did. Before you did. That's why this feels so disorienting, because you're catching up to a version of yourself they've already met. And that version doesn't move the same way you used to. It doesn't over-explain. It doesn't chase clarity. It doesn't beg to be understood. It observes. It calculates. It decides. And when it acts, it leaves impact. That's what they felt. Impact without warning, presence without permission, a shift that didn't ask for consensus. And now they're trying to stabilize themselves around you. Some will get closer. They'll lean in, curious, almost addicted to that feeling you sparked in them. They'll want more of it, more of your attention, more of your energy, more of that unspoken tension that makes them feel awake. But others, they'll retreat. They'll create distance. They'll label you intense, complicated, too much. Not because you are, but because you exposed something in them they weren't ready to face. That's the split. That's the duality you carry into every room now. To some, you're magnetic. To others, you're disruptive. To a few, you're dangerous. And to yourself, you're still figuring it out. Still piecing together how silence became louder than words. How restraint became more intimidating than aggression. How simply being became more powerful than trying. That didn't come from nowhere. That came from every moment you were misunderstood and chose not to explain. Every time you were overlooked and chose not to beg. Every time something in you broke and you rebuilt it differently. Stronger, sharper, less negotiable. You think people don't feel that? They do. They feel the history you don't talk about. They feel the control you had to learn the hard way. They feel the parts of you that decided, never again. And those parts, they don't speak. They radiate. That's why your presence feels heavier now. Because it carries decisions you already made in silence. Lines you already drew internally. limits you no longer debate, and when someone interacts with you, they're not just interacting with who you are in that moment. They're interacting with everything you've already become. That's why it hits deeper than it should. That's why they leave conversations with you, changed in ways they can't articulate. Because you don't just exist on the surface level anymore. You operate beneath it, where tone matters more than words, where energy matters more than actions, where intention is felt before it's seen. And that level, most people aren't used to it. They're used to noise, distraction, predictability. You? Your quiet intensity, your controlled chaos. You're the kind of presence that doesn't demand attention, but claims it anyway. And now comes the part no one warns you about. The responsibility of knowing. Because once you see this clearly, once you understand that your presence shifts people, you can't go back to being careless with it. You can't pretend your silence means nothing. You can't pretend your attention doesn't carry weight. You can't pretend your absence won't be noticed. Everything becomes intentional. Whether you admit it or not, every look, every pause, every step forward, and every step back. And here's the truth that most people would run from. You're not for everyone anymore. Not because you're better, but because you're different in a way that demands awareness. And awareness is uncomfortable. It forces people to confront themselves. It forces them to question their patterns, their reactions, their identity. And not everyone wants that. Some people want comfort. You bring clarity. And clarity can feel like pressure, like exposure, like standing in front of a mirror that doesn't lie. That's why some people will resent you without understanding why. That's why others will be drawn to you without being able to explain it. Because what you carry isn't neutral. It activates something every time. And the more you grow into it, the stronger that effect becomes. Which means the more careful you have to be. Not softer, not weaker. Careful, precise. Because the difference between influence and damage is awareness. And now you're aware. So the next time someone shifts around you, the next time their energy changes, their tone adjusts, their behavior bends in subtle ways, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. Observe it. Understand it. Because it's feedback. It's the echo of your presence inside someone else's mind. And whether they embrace it, fight it, or get lost in it, that echo started with you. You don't need to chase impact anymore. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to force reactions. Because now you know something deeper. Your existence already does that. Effortlessly, silently, powerfully. So stop pretending you don't see it. Stop acting like it's accidental. Stop shrinking it down to something digestible. Because the truth is, wait, what did you do to them? You became someone who doesn't need to do anything at all. And somehow, that changed everything. And now you're standing at the edge of it. Not the beginning, not the chaos. No, the edge where it all becomes intentional. This is where most people retreat. They feel the weight, the effect they have, the way rooms shift when they enter, and they panic. They soften, they shrink. They go back to being predictable just to feel accepted again. But you don't get that luxury anymore. Because once you've seen what your presence does, once you've watched someone unravel just by feeling you, there's no going back to small, no going back to harmless. You either deny it, or you own it. And owning it doesn't mean becoming reckless. It means becoming precise, measured, unshakable. It means knowing exactly when to step in and exactly when to disappear, exactly when to speak, and exactly when silence will hit harder. That's mastery, that's control, that's the evolution they felt in you before you even understood it yourself. So let them wonder, let them question, let them sit there trying to decode something that was never meant to be simple. Because you're not here to be understood easily. You're here to be felt deeply, and whether they admit it or not, they'll remember you. Not for what you said, not for what you did, but for what shifted inside them when you were there. So don't ask it again. Don't doubt it. Don't dilute it. What did you do to them? Nothing. You just stopped hiding what you are. And that was enough to change everything.